Okay, let's dive straight into these revision notes you sent over. We're looking at Capgras Syndrome today. It's a really fascinating, maybe slightly unsettling condition.
Yeah, definitely. And the plan for this deep dive is to really unpack your notes, zero in on the key high-yield info you absolutely need for revision.
Right. So our mission, definition, causes, features, how to investigate and manage it, prognosis, basically hitting all the crucial bits from your material.
Exactly. Pulling out those essential nuggets on Capgras.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. Based on the notes, Capgras syndrome. It's a rare psychiatric thing. What's the absolute core of it?
The defining thing really is this very specific delusion. It's the belief that someone close, a spouse, family member, someone important has been swapped out,
Swapped out.
replaced by an identical imposter. And the strange part, the paradox your notes highlight, is that visually they recognize the person perfectly. The face is familiar. But that feeling, that emotional sense of familiarity,
Right.
this is really them feeling. It's just gone, replaced by this strong conviction they're dealing with a double.
Wow. So they see the face, know who it should be, but the feeling isn't there? That's, yeah, unsettling is the word.
Precisely. It's like the emotional connection circuit is, well, broken somehow.
And why does this happen? What did the notes say about causes? Etiology?
Well, it looks like it's usually multifactorial. There's often a neurological element, things like damage to the frontal or temporal lobes, maybe a traumatic brain injury mentioned in your notes.
Okay, so brain-based stuff, but is it only neurological?
No, not usually. Your notes also link it strongly with other psychiatric conditions, things like schizophrenia or major depressive disorder, family history, life stressors. They can play a part too.
Right, that makes sense if it's linked to things like schizophrenia. And that neurological connection, it ties into how they think it actually works, the pathophysiology.
It does, yeah. The thinking, based on the notes, is there's some kind of disruption. The pathways connecting the bits of the brain that recognize faces.
Like the visual part.
Exactly, the part that says, yep, that's a face I know. Connecting that to the limbic system, which handles emotions and familiarity, that connection seems to be faulty.
So the information that's mom's face gets through, but the feeling that's mom doesn't.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
The visual data is fine, but the emotional tag is missing or wrong. So the brain, trying to make sense of this disconnect, comes up with the imposter idea. Neurotransmitters like dopamine, maybe serotonin might be involved too.
Okay. So clinically, how does someone with this actually present? What would you see?
Well, obviously the main thing is that persistent imposter belief.
Yeah.
But alongside that, your notes point out, they do physically recognize the person, but there's that lack of emotional warmth or familiarity. Often, they can seem quite rational about other things, which makes the delusion stand out even more. And understandably, it causes a lot of distress, anxiety, maybe even fear. Leads to big problems in relationships, daily life.
Yeah, I can imagine. And with a delusion like that, you absolutely have to rule other things out. What are the key differentials on the list?
Yeah, crucial for revision, this bit. Your notes mention things like delusional disorder on its own, schizophrenia, paranoid personality disorder, but a really key one to distinguish is prosopagnosia.
Face blindness. How's that different?
In Capgras, you recognize the face visually, you just don't feel the familiarity or believe it's the real person. In prosopagnosia, you can't recognize the face itself. It's almost the opposite problem regarding the visual recognition part. And of course, other psychotic or neurodegenerative disorders need considering.
Got it. That distinction feels important. So if Capgras is suspected, what investigations are typically done?
The notes outline a pretty standard process. A really thorough psychiatric evaluation history, mental status exam, specific diagnostic interviews might be used. Then lab tests, blood work to rule out any underlying medical causes. And neuroimaging, MRI or CT, looking for those potential structural brain issues we talked about.
Right. And treatment, management, what actually helps?
It's usually a combined approach.
Yeah.
Psychotherapy is important. Things like CBT or just supportive therapy can help the person cope with the delusion and the distress it causes.
Makes sense.
And then medications. Antipsychotics are often the main pharmacological treatment, trying to reduce the intensity of the delusion itself. And really importantly, it needs a team effort, psychiatry, psychology, involving the family for support.
Okay. And finally, what about the outlook? Prognosis, complications?
Well, the prognosis varies. Your notes say improvement is definitely possible with treatment and ongoing support, but some people might have symptoms long-term. Complications.
Yeah.
Well, obviously strained or broken relationships are a big one.
Yeah.
Functional decline, too. And in rare severe cases, there could be a risk of harm if the delusion becomes very intense. Plus, any coexisting psychiatric conditions can complicate things. Epidemiology-wise, your note state it's rare, and specific UK data is limited.
Okay, so bringing it all together for revision, remembering that core paradox is key, right? Seeing the face, but no feeling of familiarity.
Exactly. And if you can link that back to the why that proposed disconnect between visual recognition and emotional processing pathways, you're hitting a really high yield point from your notes.
And maybe practice with those differentials. Like if a question describes someone who can't recognize faces at all, what is it likely?
Prosopagnosia?
Right. But if they see the face perfectly but insist it's a fake, an imposter?
That's your Capgras. Nailing that difference from your notes is vital.
Definitely. So thinking about all this from the material, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? If our brain can separate seeing from feeling familiarity so completely, how complex or maybe how fragile is our whole sense of reality and connection?
It's a deep question, something to ponder as you review this.
Absolutely. Well, we hope this deep dive into your Capgras notes has been really useful for your revision. Don't forget you can find more resources over at passthemacera.com.
And for extra free materials and questions, check out freemsra.com as well.
Good luck with the revision.